Last Friday, a 65-year-old grandfather named Carl was walking through Yellowstone with his 13-year-old grandson. They saw a bison resting in the grass and about 100 yards away. That's four times farther than the park even requires you to stay. They stopped, pulled out their phones, took a couple pictures, and turned to walk away. Seconds later, Carl was airborne. 8 feet in the air. He came down with a femur broken in four places, and I believe he had some broken ribs too. And here's the part that should stop every single one of you from scrolling. Carl did everything right. So today we're talking about photography trends I keep seeing all over Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, wherever, that people keep getting hurt, killing wildlife, and in some cases, landing photographers in actual handcuffs. So let's get into it. Trend number one, wildlife selfies. I really need you to hear me on this one. Bison, bears, moose, elk, these are not props. They're not backdrops. They are 2,000-pound animals with horns, hooves, and zero interest in your Instagram engagement. Bison alone have injured more people in Yellowstone than any other animal in the park. And right now, we're smack in the middle of rut season, which runs from July through September, meaning the bulls are cranked up on testosterone and they're looking for a fight. But every summer, without fail, I see on the news, Facebook, wherever, the tourists climb out of their cars, walk up to a bull elk, and hand their phone to their kid to get the one shot with the antlers in it. Moose have killed people who've gotten too close. Bears have mauled photographers who thought a long lens meant they could ignore the 100-yard rule. Here's the truth: if the animal changes its behavior because of you, if it looks up, stops eating, moves away, or turns towards you, you're already too close. That's not me being dramatic. That's the National Park Service definition. Buy a longer lens, rent one if you have to, because no photograph on earth is worth what happened to Carl. And Carl was a very lucky one. Trend number two, revealing nest and den locations. Now, here's a trend that flips the whole conversation because with this one, the animals are the ones paying the price. About a mile from where I live, we have a bald eagle's nest. Beautiful pair that have been there for years. This past season, someone posted the exact location in a local Facebook group. Within days, there were crowds, cars lining the road, all of them just trying to get the shot. We got very lucky. The parents didn't abandon the nest and the babies fledged healthy. But lucky is not a wildlife photography strategy. Here's what most beginners don't realize: disturbing a bald eagle's nest is a federal crime under the Bald and Golden Eagle Protection Act. We're talking fines of up to $100,000 and possible jail time. And disturbing doesn't mean touching the tree, it means causing the birds to change their behavior. Just showing up in a crowd can qualify for this. Beyond eagles, the Migratory Bird Treaty Act protects nearly every native bird's nest in the country. And if it's threatened or endangered species, now you're looking at the Endangered Species Act. But forget the legal side for a second. Here's what really happens when you post a nest location. Parent birds abandon eggs from constant disturbance. Trampled vegetation and human scent trails lead predators, raccoons, fox, coyotes, straight to the babies. Denning mammals like foxes and coyotes relocate their kits, and most of them don't survive the move. You know what? Post the county, post the region. Never post an actual geolocation. iNaturalist and eBird both have built-in features to obscure the location on sensitive species. Use it. Trend number three, railroad track portraits. I really could not make it through this video without covering this one because somehow in the year 2026, senior portraits on railroad tracks are still a thing. Now, let me be crystal clear here. Every single set of railroad tracks in the United States is private property, and standing on them is federal trespassing. Not a suggestion, not a gray area, federal. Modern freight trains take over a mile to stop. They're quieter than you think. They come around blind curves, and the wind they push in front of them can literally pull you toward the tracks. People, including photographers and their clients, die doing this every single year. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, but the tracks look abandoned. They're not abandoned looking tracks getting used for maintenance runs, rerouting, and test locomotives all the time. There is no such thing as a safe railroad track. Find a country road, find an alleyway. I mean, I'm guilty of it as well. I've wanted to have leading lines for a photo, and I've used railroad tracks for that. I've never done portraits on them, but I have used them for leading lines, which means I had to stand on the tracks in the middle. Now, these were tracks that I knew were not being used anymore. I actually talked to somebody who worked there, and they said, the tracks were not being used. But still, even I shouldn't have done that as well because, even though I did check, which is the safe thing to do, I still shouldn't have done it. It's really a poor example. So stay off the tracks. Trend number 4, cliff edge and waterfall selfies. This one is filling emergency rooms and unfortunately the morgues as well. Between 2011 and 2017 alone, at least 259 people worldwide died taking selfies, with falls being one of the top causes. At the Grand Canyon, Yosemite, Niagara Falls, pick a scenic overlook, and I promise you there's a story of someone who backed up one step too many for the shot. Now, here's what beginners don't factor in: wet rock at the top of a waterfall is like ice. Guardrails exist because someone already died where you're standing, and your viewfinder or phone screen is not a depth gauge. You cannot see the edge behind you. If you want the epic cliff edge composition, put your subject farther back and use a longer focal length to compress the background. It looks more dramatic anyway. You're welcome. Trend number 5, trespassing on farmland. Sunflower seeds, lavender fields, cornfields at golden hour. I get it. They're gorgeous. I photographed them. But that abandoned field you saw on Pinterest, it belongs to a farmer. That's their livelihood. You're trampling for a maternity shoot. Farmers across the country have started putting up no trespassing, cameras, prosecuted signs, specifically because of Instagram photographers. Some have started changing or charging people who have been caught. Others have just plowed the fields under so nobody can use them anymore, which means the rest of us lose access as well. Thanks a lot for that, guys. Now, most farms with public sunflower fields, they charge $5 or $10 per person. Some places for professional photographers, they're going to charge you maybe 50 or 60 bucks for a session. Pay the price, support the farmer, get the shot legally. Plus, like wildlife nests and dens, do not post the locations of these fields to the public. You're not helping anyone. Trend number 6, climbing on monuments and protected rock formations. I don't know when we collectively decided that ancient rock formations and historic monuments were jungle gyms, but we need to really undecide it. Delicate Arch in Utah, the hoodoos at Bryce Canyon, even the Empire State Building. Look at the news recently. Every time some influencer scrambles up on one of these for a hero shot, they're damaging formations that have existed for thousands of years, and they can never be repaired. In the case of the Empire State Building, first responders were put in danger because they had to remove these influencers from the building. I mean, come on, people. It's stupidity. And again, it's not just the natural formations, climbing on war memorials, cemetery headstones, historic statues for the edgy portrait. It's just a fast track to federal charges, a viral shaming, and a ban from the location for every photographer who comes after you. If a rock formation or a monument is roped off, the rope is not a suggestion. It's the reason your grandkids will still get to see that monument. Trend number 7, prop weapons and real firearms on the set. Saving the heaviest one for last because this is the trend that ends careers and lives. I keep seeing photographers on Instagram or TikTok, whatever, doing edgy portrait shoots with real firearms as props. No armorer, no safety officer, sometimes not even a check to see if the gun is loaded. We already know how this story ends. We watched it play out on the set of Rust, and that was a production with an actual armorer on staff. What do you think happens on a portrait shoot in some guy's garage with a pistol he grabbed out of his nightstand? Duh. And here's the rule, and it's not negotiable. If a firearm is going to be in the frame, you hire a licensed armorer, period, every single time. If you can't afford one, you can't afford to do the shoot. Use an airsoft replica, use a rubber trainer, use a cardboard cutout in post. I don't care. Don't use a real gun if you can't do it the right way. Because I thought it was unloaded is the last sentence a lot of photographers ever say as a free person. We're not evolving, people. We're getting stupid. Look, every one of these trends started because somebody somewhere got a viral video or a photo. And now the algorithm rewards the next person who does it a little bigger, a little riskier, and a little dumber. But here's what the algorithm doesn't show you: the hospital bills, the federal charges, the abandoned eagle's nests, the families that don't come home or family members that don't come home. Be the photographer people trust. Be the one whose portfolio is built on skill and not stunts, because a great photograph doesn't require anyone or anything to get hurt. I really hope you guys have a very, very blessed day. And until next time, take care, everyone.